Well, it is such a joy to be with you. Thank you so much, LaDonna. Really giving honor to the Creator, to the ancestors. So really wanting to recognize the moment that we're in and the beauty that represented by our coming together at this moment. So I just want to speak to you all just for a little bit and open up an opportunity for us to what it means to know that our Black lives matter. What does it mean to you to know, to to expand the felt sense in your own body that your life matters? I love that I'm moved by the poets that I've just had the privilege of kind of following. Awesome representation of what it is that my words here might in some ways help amplify. That our lives matter. And yet we all know how difficult it can be living in the world as it is today, having inherited in our own personal lives, our own personal families, and then in a larger culture, deeply ingrained practices for disconnecting us from the sense of our own values as life forces. And so I'm just here to sort of share with you how mindfulness practice, of all things, can be really an important support for us in our healing too. I want to just back up and say that, I come to you from San Francisco, California, by way originally of Princeton, North Carolina, right? So I'm representing the West Coast too, but also got that Southeast swing through. I was born in North Carolina, raised in Virginia. And now I'm living out on the West Coast. So I've had the chance to live in these two very different parts of the United States. And, I'm going to tell you, I was born at the end of the 1960s. So I've lived through this arc of, the post-civil rights era, benefited from a lot of the work to kind of collectively heal and change and create more opportunity that era represented. I was born in actually the last King Jr.'s life on the planet, 1967. By the time I was 1, he had already been assassinated. So we are living representatives of the hopes and dreams of ancestors, including now the great and beloved Congressman John Lewis, but so many ancestors. So just pausing to honor. Yeah. Shout out to all the people who, worked in Kinston and Goldsboro. I love it in the chat. Pausing to honor this beautiful diaspora, this beautiful community that's coming together from so many different parts of the United States. But wherever we, and maybe the world, and wherever we are, just recognizing again, we are the thread of that life energy that flows and flows and flows and flows through the ancestors whose names we know, and then the many, many, many generations whose names we will never know. Recognizing that human beings first started walking upright like this 200,000 or more years ago. Hard for us as humans today to even comprehend what that means. So we are, in a very real sense, these miracles of life. Yet, we've suffered in many ways, in many ways that have disconnected us from the sense of our own value and worth. So I love that we're here reclaiming it. I love that we're here recognizing, where we are with no shame. However we are, we're here. So recognizing where we are is so important. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about how mindfulness practices can support us in just recognizing where we are, what we're up against. But that piece about reclaiming and then restoring is so important. That's right, we're here now. We're here, and everything that is worthy of our honoring, actually. Even the painful parts of our path. Let's just imagine, not trying to be Pollyanna about it, because this is I'm going to tread lightly here because I recognize that no one of us has shared anybody else's story or path to this moment. And though we've not all suffered in the same ways, right? So just giving a moment of kind of inviting a settling in and sensing into what is well within us in this moment, despite whatever degree of unwellness we might be working with. I want to invite just a little bit of practice for allowing ourselves to breathe in, and feel what is well. So I'm going to offer this, in the modality of what we call mindfulness. And some of you may be very familiar with mindfulness, and for some of you, it might be a new practice. What I want to invite is just an open, if you're willing to experiment with me here, call it mindfulness, call it just sitting and feeling the center, the ground, the well of resources. You can link this with prayer if that feels right for you. But for the next few minutes, what I'd like to do is invite us into a little bit of practice, and we'll talk a little bit more and unpack what mindfulness can offer for us. So wherever you are, if you can, just see if you can feel your body in this moment. Allow yourself, whether you want to have your eyes open or closed, whichever works best for you is perfectly okay. But the invitation is to kind of put down the devices, put down the note, and really allow yourself to fully arrive in this moment, right here, right now. So first, to just sense into the body and the being in this moment, feeling the points of contact between the ground, this earth that we all share here now. Feeling your body in contact with the earth. It might be through a chair or a bed, however your body is being held in this moment. And then feeling maybe energetically the chair that you're sitting on, or if the feet are on the floor, really allowing yourself to maybe on the next in-breath and out-breath cycle, breathe, feeling the body in this moment, sensing what is well within you, breathing out, allowing yourself to just drop in just a little bit more deeply into this moment of life. Seeing if you can really feel the aliveness, perhaps scanning from the feet up to the head or from the crown of the head down. As you breathe in and out, checking in with the different parts of your body, and again, sensing what is well within you. As you breathe in and out, perhaps expanding. Once you sense into some aspect of your being that is feeling energetically alive, breathing in and breathing out, seeing if you can give that part of you more space, more love, more support. And now sensing into the quality of the breath as you breathe in and out, seeing if you can really pick up on the in-breath, the flow of the in-breath or the out-breath, wherever you happen to find yourself now. And let your mind and your awareness just rest. It's primary focused on the sensations of breathing right now. So that means if chat or questions are coming up, please just pause them for now. That means if thoughts are coming up, just letting them go, almost like you would drop the thought on a leaf passing beneath on a stream, or you might tie it to a balloon or rest it on a cloud and let it drift on by. The invitation is to notice if you might be going off into thought, allow to release the thoughts and come back to the sensations, the felt sense of just breathing now. Breathing in and breathing out. Again, giving kindness to any part of us that might find this difficult. And just allowing yourself to just be with wherever you are right now. If you need to release, focus on the breathing for your own illness, that's perfectly okay. Maybe find a point of focus where your attention can rest more easily. It could just be in your hands right now, or your feet on the floor. There's nothing magic about attending to the sensation. The real goal is to give you a point of focus so you can rest your mind for these few moments. Feel the energy of your life force in this moment. And if the mind wanders, just with kindness and compassion, because that's what the mind has been trained to do. Gently invite the attention back to your point of chosen focus, point of focus in the hands, the feet, or the breath, wherever you've chosen to rest your attention in this moment. You're bringing kindness to just the sensations of being alive right now. Can you bring love right in?
I can have
As you breathe in and out. See if you just bring love right in. Notice the quality of the heart as you breathe in and out in this moment. Again, with that gentle, like almost a kind of like you're sneaking up on the sensations of what it's like as you breathe in and out. Are we feeling any warmth in the chest region, the region, any opening? Imagine the heart region maybe being able to open, feeling some warmth, maybe pouring in. Imagine kind of a healing light pouring in as you breathe in and out. Perhaps on the in breath, filling the chest region with this warm healing light. And then as you breathe out, imagine allowing that to expand all the way up to and through the crown of the head, down from the head, through the heart, the midsection, the buttocks, thighs, knees, down to the feet. As you breathe in and out. Now just imagine this expanding the entire being and body with a healing, loving light in this moment. And if there's any way in which you are feeling any particular challenge, any difficulty, you might invite an intentional offer of kindness to that part of you that is feeling some distress, grief, suffering, pain. And if it helps, maybe placing one hand on over the heart, one hand beneath the belly button, or both hands over the heart, both hands beneath the belly button. You can experiment to see where and if just placing your hands in these really beautiful and powerful neurobiological centers for well-being. See if just placing a hand right over the heart and breathing in and out helps provide you with an additional source of grounding support. And as you breathe in and out, perhaps calling to mind a person with whom or a place where you have felt nurtured. So if it's a person, maybe person's face, maybe even imagine holding their hand in yours right now. And if it's a place, breathing in the particular sense of something cooking there, the light flowing into the room, the colors, the energetics of that place. So this we've shifted into a visualization practice that can also be an additional source whenever we need it. Visualizing, reminding, remembering in our bodies when we have felt safe, nurtured, where and with whom we felt love. So as we begin to draw this meditation to a close, the invitation, as you breathe in and out, sensing again into what is well within you and really inviting an end to wellness, expansion of your own capacities for healing right here, right now. Breathing in and breathing out. Imagine feeling the support of the ancestors, feeling the brilliance of every bit of genetic wisdom that got you here. No accidents. So as you breathe in and out, see if you can just allow this sort of space that you're in to kind of be strengthened by consciously inviting, remembering that we arrive here on the wings and via the glide path provided by our ancestors. The miracle of their genetic wisdom is in us in this moment. So see if as you breathe in and out into what is well within you, recognizing that part of your ability to be well is strengthened by a manifestation of the wisdom, grace of every single bit of your genetic inheritance in this moment. The winners, the fighters, the strong men and women, entities, beings, all genders, without whom we wouldn't be here. So breathing in and see if you can feel a little bit of extra strength that comes from consciously recognizing the brilliance that is in you innately, or else you wouldn't be here. Just trust. And so from this place, the invitation would be to see if you can sense your own wish for well-being and healing in this moment, and see if you can identify what captures the wish you feel, the sense you feel of your gathering awareness of your own healing and ability to heal yourself through practices like this, through prayer, singing, through movement. You got this. So a word or a phrase that can help remind you of your innate healing, for restoring, for thriving. Breathing in and out. And now as we begin to shift toward an outer practice of engagement, imagine extending the sense of your own wish for well-being to everyone on this call. So as you breathe in and out, you're extending the wish for wellness, for healing to everyone on the call. And imagine receiving these wishes back, because as we're extending them now, they're being extended to each of you. That means to you. So breathing in the wish for well-being, the offer of loving support that's coming your way, the prayer coming your way right now, the healing prayer. So breathing in the prayer that includes each of us and extends beyond us to all of us. And then beyond this circle, to everyone that we connect, extends beyond this circle to every community that we know to be suffering and every person we know to be suffering right now. Giving love as we breathe, love that includes ourselves, extends to all of us, extends powerfully beyond. And so I'm going to use the support of a bell to ring us back. And if you found yourself drifting into any kind of sleep during this time of meditation, that's okay. Your body may have allowed this bell to bring us back into personal, mindful, connecting, and loving kindness. So I just want to thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to pause, to breathe, to pray, if that's your practice, to feel the life force within you. Feel, just check in, take a moment to check in with the body right now. Those of you who are able to practice and with me, and see if there's a word or two that's coming up that captures what's alive in you right now, any way in which you sense the shift. Hope. Beautiful. Thank you. Calm. Beautiful. Comforting. Yes, we all have this ability to comfort ourselves and to comfort each other. And this is not to say that we will always sort of be in this place of calm, but sometimes we need this, right? Sometimes we meditate to energize for action. And sometimes we meditate to gather the resources of peace, yes, mercy, glory in us, and just bear witness to our own, again, powerful life energy. Concentrate it, sort of marinate in it. Feel the love. And if that's a struggle for us, feel some kind of compassionate of the wish to be able to feel more love for ourselves. And let that be the first step. Yeah. So I just want to say that just just a little bit of how I come to this. I am a law professor. I've been teaching for many years at the University of San Francisco. I studied sociology. I did a lot of different things on the journey from Kinston, North Carolina, growing up in a family as a child where there were a lot of legacies of our horrible history of oppression in this country. So we versus we didn't have a lot of money, but we did have each other. And I had a grand thing about prayer and knew something about centering in her own wisdom and her own worth as a support for going out and doing things in the world. So when I talk about mindfulness, it's kind of in conversation with prayer always, because that was the legacy that I got from my grandmother, Grandnan Suggs, granddaughter of enslaved people in America. So this practice for me, which is about waking up and waking myself up to my inner resources and my innate goodness, is something I teach now as part of working with lawyers, law professors, conflict resolution folks, social justice advocates, people in higher ed who are trying to think better about how to make the most of our teaching and learning opportunities in those classrooms, and recognizing that everybody has some trauma to heal some way, somewhere. And that if we can't work on healing, we probably can't learn that well together. So I'm part of this movement to bring these kinds of practices to how we teach and learn in higher education as well, across disciplines, beyond law. I wrote a book that came out here called The Inner Work of Racial Justice, Healing Ourselves and Transforming Our Communities Through Mindfulness. Because I see this kind of personal healing practice, the first approximation to what justice looks like in the world. I think of justice not as something that someone gives to us from on high, but as something dynamic that we are in the process. We have to, like, if we're in the conversation about what justice is, we're missing the call of this moment. If we don't realize that it must begin with ourselves and with our own commitment to our own best healing and loving ourselves and those around us, then we're missing the call of this moment. But recognizing is not just about, it's not just about personal healing, but it's a step to being able to work with somebody else to be at least engaged in the process of trying to heal. And then from to try and transform the communities that we're in, the institutions that we're in, that together make this world. The thread from our practice to the healing work we can do with our loved ones and people we're working with every day, like nearby, before we jump too far. The thread, personal healing to interpersonal and communal healing, to healing and remaking the world, is a very real one. It's a very, very real one. This isn't abstract. So personal justice to interpersonal systemic justice, and realizing those things are all interconnected. All interconnected. So what else can I tell you? I want to hear from you, any ways that you might be exploring bringing practices like this to bear in your work for self-healing, self-care, any challenges you're feeling around that. There's so many resources that are available freely these days to support you in mindfulness. And the way that I offer it is really an engaged mindfulness for our work in the world, but that begins with ourselves. Does that make sense? It's not about getting in a personal state of like Zen, like spa, like blissing out for the sake of that. It is about healing deeply, healing the separations, the many separations we have within ourselves, the conflicts we have within ourselves, the judgments, the things that we can't accept within ourselves. We must start here. And then healing separations between ourselves and others, other people, as best we can. Can't do it all, but we can orient ourselves toward healing dynamics with others. And beyond that, healing separation, realizing we are 70% or more water, air, breath. How separate are we ever from this thing we call the environment? We're not. Heal the sense of separation from the more than human world, the animal kingdom that we're privileged to occupy the planet with. Healing the separations. And justice and making peace as best we can from this place. From this place. And then passing the baton on to the next generation, as we will. This is temporary. This is a temporary stay. Where we go from here, we can't know fully, but we are already a part of wherever we might go, if that makes any sense. The life force that birthed us is a life force where we're going to go to. Trust in that. And just make the most of the time that we have. We don't know, none of us knows the hour that we won't be here to do this work together. But for now, we're here. Breathe in, feel your capacity to do good with this life. and go to it. Take one right next step. We can't do it all, but we can take a step. So let me see if there's any questions. Any? Oh, I see in the Q&A box. Let's see. Speak on those of us struggling with anxiety. Yes, yes, yes. Hard to get into our heart. Let's just say this about those struggling with anxiety. One of the practices that I alluded to, placing one hand over the heart and then calling forth a place or a person where you felt nurtured with yourself at a time, and see if that's a practice you can explore for grounding yourself in moments of anxiousness. It was actually developed by folks who are trained in psychology and psychiatry as a way of adding a kind of mindfulness practice for helping downregulate in moments of anxiousness. I've offered that practice to people on airplanes who were about to freak out at, taking off and landing. This one woman in particular I'm thinking of who kind of some help, and I just gently offered it. All of a sudden the whole row was practicing together. And then when we got off the plane, this woman was like, I got to introduce you to my husband. Before you, he was the only person who could ever help me calm in moments of anxiety. To tell her, it wasn't me. You did that. So we always have the capacity. Yeah, we always have the capacity to help. And it's not easy sometimes. I'm on the Pollyanna-ish this, right? I know it's harder for some of us. I have a sister who struggles. I have members of my family and my circle, and I've struggled with sadness, edging toward depression, moments, and not now, but in the past, where I felt deep depression. So I know these practices can help pull us out of those places. And I know that we can go into those places because these are hard times. But know that you're not alone, and know that your life is no accident, and that you're here to make a gift offering, to offer your original medicine somehow, some way, every single day. So if we can first start, what is the medicine I need for myself? How can I do a little bit of offering to somebody else? That's a day well lived. And the more we can build up our ability to do that, the more we can do that together. So I really want to thank all of you for blessing me with your presence. And I am, you can find me on the web, rhondavmagee.com, Magee. Again, my book is The Inner Work of Racial Justice, Healing Ourselves and Transforming Our Communities Through Mindfulness, an audiobook where I guide meditations and read, so you can go on Audible. You don't have to do the reading. You can just hear me guide and reflect with you. And then you can pause and journal and all of that. But we're here. I wrote that book as an offering, and I invite you to keep passing it on, and your own offerings. That's why we're here, I think. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your offering. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your scholarship. Thank you for your practice, allowing us to join you in this work. As we know, we are healing while Black. And so it is one thing to be in theory, another to be in practice and full energy, even across digital space.